Hey guys, welcome to Rigo's Garage. My name's Rigo, and I'm about to review this Westcreek TT-20. This is a telly style guitar. It looks fairly promising, but is it the best budget guitar for beginners? Stick around. So like I said, this is a Westcreek guitar. This guitar retails for around $169, and it comes from the brand Westcreek, which started at around 2022. And I think they really kicked off during the pandemic when everyone was buying lots of guitars and they had a little bit of money to spare. And this brand has been moving up on my radar for a while now. They have some pretty good models like the Revenge, which is an Explorer style, and then they have the Racer, which is a double cut. It's all looking very good from the price point of around $169 to $300. And this time around, I found this guitar here for just $169, and I thought this paint job just looks fantastic. I had to check it out. Besides this review, there's actually two other guys at the moment out there with a review of this guitar, but I wanted to get more into the specs and actually do some measurements. So I have some measurements for you guys. I have some demos that I'm gonna do, and my opinion towards the end to see, to let you know if this is the guitar for you, especially for beginners at this price point. So stick around. All right, first impressions here. Well, this guitar looks fantastic. In fact, that was the reason why I wanted to take a look at this guitar. The paint job is looking really cool. You got kind of a plain color in the back. You have this striking design features with this pick guard, kind of different pick guard, more of a Strat setup over here. I'm loving the tailpiece here, very solid and fairly clean looking. We have the dreaded or infamous or famous ball end stainless steel frets here, which I have a small gripe. I'll let you guys know about it in a little bit. And we have these really cool chrome metal actually knobs down here, and they are actually metal. In fact, I can give you a small test. That's the sound of metal to me. And so the design is looking really cool, and I think that's what this guitar has going for it. Very cool looking. It wasn't dirty. Some of these guitars at this price point, when you get them, you can tell they were in the factory and you have sawdust everywhere. Not with this. This was fairly clean, very much so. The design of this guitar is what really shines on it. I mean, take a look at this neck. We have a roasted maple neck. It's not one of those ultra roasted necks where they look almost like chocolate color, but it's a fairly cool looking neck. So it's got a lot of things going for it, but does it have the quality that it seems to have? Let's dive deeper and see if we can get some specs. I took a lot of measurements here, and I want to tell you guys what I think about it, especially as we go through the measurements, go through the specs. I'll let you know if I think this spec is going to be a good playing guitar before we do a playthrough. All right, so just a quick rundown on the materials that are used. The manufacturer claims we have a mahogany body, we have a roasted maple neck here, and we have a rosewood fretboard. They also are claiming stainless steel frets. Now, I don't have a way to verify that. If there's some sort of test that you guys do out there to verify if these are stainless steel, let me know and I can try it out. But for now, they are looking like they are stainless steel, but again, right, can't really tell. I can tell that they're a little rough, so they're not completely polished stainless steel frets. We also have some no-name tuners back here and some cool looking string trees, which will give you a close-up right now on these string trees. One note on the string trees, however, is that I saw someone else in a different video actually break a string, and I think the culprit has been this string tree. They look like roller string trees, but they actually are not rolling, and they're fairly rough where you have the small channel for the string, and so I think this might be the culprit. These look kind of cool, but I think they could be replaced and upgraded still. Let's take a look at some specs and some actual measurements. Let you know what I think about those measurements as well. Let's start with the neck first. All right, guys. So the actual measurements of the neck here are 25.5 inches in length. So this is a traditional telly length. We also have 21 millimeters at the first fret. I measured everything for you guys so that you don't have to be bothering. I have this Squire back here. I don't know if you can tell, but that guitar over there was around 43.6 millimeters. So fairly thin neck as compared to, you know, traditional Squire. So I think this is gonna feel very thin in the hand, and in fact, it really does. We also have the thickness at the 12th fret right here at 22 millimeters. A traditional telly here would be 24.6 millimeters. So again, the neck is very thin, and you can definitely tell all the way along the length of the neck. Now the nut width, I measured this. This is 42 millimeters. This is okay. This is pretty much in line with what you get with a traditional telly. You get somewhere around the lines of 41 to 42.8 at the nut. So this definitely is in line with that. I have no problems with that. We do have a string spacing at the nut of 34.7 millimeters. Spacing over here at the nut 34.7 millimeters, and string spacing at the bridge 54.2 millimeters. So overall, it's looking like a kind of a tight, small neck. Spacing is maybe a little wide over here at the bridge, and it's kind of narrow at the nut. So just keep that in mind. If you like wider necks, this might not be for you. Take a look at these fretboard inlays, however. They're very cool. We got circles at every other fret here. And we have this very nice tribal design at the 12th fret. And then we have these circles kind of at the bottom now in the upper frets. I think these are very cool. It very much goes with the design of the guitar, very eccentric kind of design. Now let's talk about these ball and stainless steel frets. Now I'm going to take some pictures here with my phone for you guys, and I'll put them up on the screen as I'm looking at these. These are love or hate for me, and the only reason for that is if the ball end frets don't go all the way to the end, then I really hate them. And I've been starting to see that a lot with a lot of the manufacturers that make these kinds of guitars. Their frets don't go all the way to the edges, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. In most of these frets, you have maybe like a ½ millimeter, but you can tell that the frets are not going all the way to the edges. And I think it just kind of bothers me. I don't know if it affects playability, but I imagine if you try to widen the string spacing at the nut, you might get some problems with that, where your string might go into the edge of the guitar, of the neck. So just keep that in mind. It's fairly smooth all the way along the fretboard. It's not that big of a problem. I may be overreacting here, but again, it's kind of a quality issue that I noticed that I don't really like on this guitar. Another thing I wanted to note is that the action right off the box is very high. I'm looking at 2.55 millimeters at the low E and 2.23 millimeters at the high E. So the best numbers there, the high E, you want maybe 1.4 millimeters. That's kind of a medium height, maybe a little bit low. And at the low E, you want 1.65 millimeters. So definitely came in very high. I will probably do a very quick setup before I play this so that it's at least playable and you can hear it without intonation issues. But just FYI, this guitar is probably not a guitar that you just get and you start playing. You gotta do a little bit of work on that, at least know how to lower and raise your saddle. Better yet, lower your nut height, because it does feel fairly high as well over here. Then lower your saddles over here. You should be fine after that. Okay, for this next part, I think we should check out if there's any high frets. Now for this, I'm just gonna lay the guitar down to kind of make the neck float a bit. I don't want to be, I don't want to have this stand mess with its angle. And I'm just gonna use a fret rocker. You guys have seen this in many channels. I'm just gonna rock the frets, see if there's anything there, and there's nothing here. Alright guys, so I counted around 8 to 9 high frets. Some of the frets were actually only a little bit high at the edge. In the middle it was fairly straight. This is common if they're not nailing the frets down well. I would do a quick setup on the frets before playing as well. If you know how to level and crown frets, that would be a great idea to do this. If you really like this guitar, you want to spend the time on it. Alright guys, let's take a look at the hardware now. I'm going to be taking pictures again so that you guys can get close-ups of the hardware and you can see all the details around it. But what I'm seeing here is that I really like this bridge. It is a hardtail, more of a all-metal bridge, more reminiscent of a Strat style guitar. You don't have the saddles, the traditional Telly saddles there. You have individual per string saddles, which is fine with me. And I have no problem against this bridge. The only thing about this bridge is that some of the screws stick out a bit too much, and I can tell that I need to lower them even more to get a better setup. So I'm guessing they're gonna stick out even more. So if there's replacement screw sets that are lower, maybe on Amazon, I would definitely consider that for this guitar. Really liking this pick guard. It's pretty tidy. This pick guard is well cut, I would say, right? There's no gaps. There's no awkward gaps. There's no like finishing, hardly any finishing problems with that. So, and it's more of a cream color as well. It's looking really cool on this guitar. I'm really digging that. Like I said, I really dig the chrome knobs on this guitar as well. By the way, I skipped the nut. The nut is looking fairly rough. Here, I'll take some pictures of this as well so that you can take a look. But it is looking a bit rough here on my angle here. I think this nut could be a lot. Well, first of all, it's definitely very high. I could tell that. And so I would definitely adjust the nut, but it is a bone nut, so at least it's got that going for it. And I would do some kind of cleaning up and polishing on the nut itself just to give it that extra quality look. One thing that I was discouraged about this guitar is the tuners here. The tuners are pretty cheap looking, pretty rough, and I can even see, I'll take pictures for you guys here. I'll put them up now. I can even see like some damage on the tuners from when they were tuning it in the factory, perhaps. I did tune this guitar once. I found no problems with the tuner. Maybe one felt like it had a little bit of dirt in there, but as far as tuning goes, they tune. So there you go. And the string trees, we talked about those. I would replace the string trees with actual roller string trees. These are not rolling. So yeah, that's probably another to-do item that I would add to your list if you're gonna keep this guitar. All right, so electronics. Let's do something first. Let's test out the measurements on these pickups. One of the things that I see a lot is that when YouTubers and guitar review channels are measuring the pickups, except for a few actually, they don't give you the full picture of the specifications. Remember, you need resistance. You need to measure more or less the output, but you also need the Henrys to measure how hot that pickup is going to be. And one last thing that I would measure as well is the capacitance, right? A high capacitance here is going to give you a warmer tone, and a low capacitance is going to give you a brighter tone. Same thing with a higher output pickup versus a lower output pickup. It's gonna affect how clean the sound is and how much you're going to be able to push your amp. at the front with the pickups. So it's a combination of those things that you want to know so that you can find the right pickup for your guitar. Maybe you have a very warm sounding guitar, you want to line it up, maybe get a lower output pickup, maybe go for a lower capacitance so you get a lot of that clarity from the pickup in, right? And maybe you get more like of a single coil if you can help it. But anyway, let's take a look at this neck pickup here. Now this seems to be an Alnico 5 coming in at around 5.5 kilo ohms and was at a capacitance of 26.8 nanofarads. Now just to give you a comparison on capacitance, I really like the Tone Rider Hot Classics. It's fairly inexpensive pickup with a great tone, great for a tele guitar. And that capacitance, that pickup's capacitance was at 19.6 nanofarads. So this is definitely a higher capacitance pickup at the neck, which means it's going to have a warmer tone. So you may want that or you may not, but there you go. That's what it is. And then finally, this is coming in at 1.71 Henrys. So not that very high output. Again, the Tone Rider are coming in at 2.7 Henrys. So this is a much lower output neck pickup. Over at the bridge, we have a 6.38 kilo ohm bridge pickup. The Henrys are at 1.68, and finally the capacitance is at 26.7, so similar to that other pickup. But that tells me they have probably the same kind of wire as well. And as a comparison here, the resistance on the Tone Rider Hot Classics is around 9 kilo ohms. So you can already see that this is a very low output neck pickup, which is probably not what you want if you're going to be rocking out and you want to drive the amp with the neck pickup. With the neck pickup. So there you go, 6.38, 5.5 kilo ohms. So let's take a look under the hood here. I want to give you guys a shot at the electronics. Let's open up this pickguard and see what's in there and see what kind of capacitors and what kind of potentiometers we see. So let me go ahead and take off the strings and I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I switched to my phone camera here just to show you. At least we have some full-size pots here, so that's really cool. We have pretty standard shielded wiring. I actually do like this kind of wiring. If you take a look here, there's two leads coming out of each wire that has these long runs, and that's a shielded wire. It's very cool. It gives you a little bit more of that shielding all across the circuitry, so that's really cool. We do have a standard kind of circuit board switch. I don't know what to say. I mean, I haven't compared the sound. It feels pretty snappy, so, but if you want just more peace of mind, I would switch it out for one of the more traditional kind of Fender 7-way switches here. And we do have shielding in here. I tested the shielding. Shielding is not very conductive. It is just barely conductive, and you have to make very short runs. What I would do is I would give it another coat of shielding here so that there's better conductivity throughout. But overall in the wiring, it looks fine. I mean, it's pretty standard. It's one thing I was actually surprised, the cavity's fairly clean. There's no roughness or hacks. Maybe there's a small hack right here where things didn't fit. I don't know if you can tell right there. And they did a little bit of adjustment on the wood. But that gives me a chance to take a look at the wood, and it does look like a mahogany kind of wood. Let me go handheld to show you that a little bit easier. So right there, does look like a mahogany kind of wood. But again, the cavities look fine here, nothing to rave about, and the wiring looks okay-ish. One thing I would do is I'll probably replace this. I would leave everything else the same. Maybe if you like a different size capacitor on your tone knob, then you can go ahead and do that as well. Just in case you're interested, this is the back of that neck pickup. So looking good overall. All right, guys, so now it's time for a sound test. I'm gonna do a clean sound test. I'm gonna do a slightly distorted, slightly overdriven sound test. And then maybe I'll compare it to my very favorite Telecaster, which is a Shiji. I don't know if you can see it's back there. It's the Shiji Telecaster over there, or Tele style guitar. I'm gonna compare it to that. That also has the Tone Rider pickup, so I just want you guys to get a frame of comparison. But yeah, let's see how it sounds like. All right, let's hear the bridge pickup here. Both definitely bright. The bridge especially very bright here. Neck pickup. Yeah, so you can definitely tell a difference between both of them, but they're both pretty bright. They both sound fairly low output, like I thought. Let's do just a quick little noodle that I usually do. Here's the neck pickup, no pick. Bridge. Sounds pretty good. Let me get my my tuning straight. I think I went out of tune there. All right, so I'm at the neck pickup now. Let's get some lead tones and see what we can get out of the Dream 65 amp. I'll put it over here at the lead setting. I'm gonna, well, let's go DTX setting and lower the output a bit. Okay, I think that'll be a good setting. Maybe turn up the boost a little bit. Give it a little bit more bass. All right. Sounds a little fuzzy, but I think that's just the amp here. Let's try to turn up the turn down the boost. Sorry, turn down the volume and up the boost. Yeah, I could definitely tell the pickups are fairly low output, so but you can really have to turn up the boost. Let's try that neck pickup. Sorry, this is the bridge pickup. It's still very, very bright. I'm gonna try to turn down the tone here. See if I can turn down the treble some more. All right, so I think I kind of know what's going on here. These pickups are just very low output. They're very bright. I think it kind of goes to show the specs, right? The specs were very low resistance, and then the capacitance was very high, and the Henrys were very low. So kind of very bright, very clear. I think these work better for more of a clean tone here. Let's see if I can get that again. Yeah, so it's more. Yeah, so I think these pickups are more for a clean tone. Let me grab the other telly and give you a sound comparison so that you can see what I was talking about. So I'm gonna grab that Shiji in white over there, and that has the Tone Rider Hot Classics that I wanted you to check out. 1 second. Okay, so here's the Shiji telly with the Hot Classics neck pickup. Here's the bridge pickup. So I can already tell it's a much fuller tone, a lot more bass in these pickups. A little less clarity, but a lot more bass. Let's try that quick noodle I was doing. The same thing on the bridge pickup. So I just wanted you guys to get kind of a different sound sample there. This is a much more expensive guitar. This is around $1,000 guitar, and I just wanted you to compare it with some different pickups, right? So you can kind of see the difference. I would definitely recommend the Hot Classics, maybe as a replacement to the Westcreek, or maybe you like some Fender Telecaster pickups. In fact, let me know which ones you like. Maybe you could put them in that guitar there. But anyway, let's wrap up the review and give you my final thoughts on what I think about the guitar. So pros and cons, what are my final thoughts here? Again, I would recommend this guitar only if you're gonna do some work on it, okay? You have a pretty bad setup at overall out of the box. You need to replace a couple of things, the screws at the bridge, the string trees over here, the tuners, and other than that, the guitar is actually pretty good. It's got a really cool design. The neck is very thin, so it'll be good for people just starting out. But if you like a thicker neck, maybe you're a more experienced player, then maybe this neck is not for you. I would consider replacing the neck. One big limitation of this guitar is definitely the pickups. I would replace the pickups right away. But some cool things though is that this guitar I didn't mention is pretty loud out of the box. I mean, sorry, without connecting. That's usually a good sign for a very resonant guitar. I did also notice it has pretty good sustain overall. So it's a mixed bag, but do I recommend it? I think yes, if you're gonna work on it. No, if you're not gonna work on it. And no, if you want something that's just gonna play right off the box. You're gonna, this is more of a hobbyist. If you're gonna work on it, if you know what you're doing with guitars, then sure, it's actually quite surprising what you can get for 160, 170 bucks these days. Am I gonna keep it? I think I'm gonna keep it, but I'm gonna replace the neck. In fact, let me show you the neck that I'm gonna replace it with, and you guys tell me if this is gonna be cool or not. So what do you guys think, guys? I'm gonna put this neck on this guitar. Do you think that's gonna look cool or not? Stay tuned for a different video on that. But I think I will keep the guitar to mod it. I have a lot of pickups lying around from different builds that I've done, or just I saw deals online. I'll probably put some cool pickups on here. And the reason why I'm keeping it is because I really like the paint job. I really like the setup they have going on. I'm definitely gonna replace the saddles here, get some different overall saddles perhaps, maybe some brass looking ones. I think it'll be a cool project. So yeah, if you wanna mod this thing, go for it. I think it's a good build, good quality overall, I don't see blemishes anywhere, so it's a good modding platform. So I'll leave you guys with that. Otherwise, I'm gonna talk your ears off. Thank you for staying to the end of the call. Again, my name is Rigo, and this is Rigo's Garage. I'll see you next time. Bye.